To which I said, well, good for you.
And then I said,
rude.
Yeah. It was rude.
Totally rude, man.
That is exactly.
Clark, you're the dick in this one.
This week, we sample some beers we enjoy drinking in autumn. This is episode 64 of The Malting Hour.
What's the haps on the hops? Got yeast and speeds. This the Malting Hour where we talk about our drink and tell you what we think every other week. And if we get drunk, well, we might slur our speech. Got the gift of gab, the friends you wish you had. Join us for a drink, join us for a laugh. Time is never wasted, where you getting wasted. The Malting Hour here, people take your places. People take your places. People take your
The leaves are changing color, the air is a little cooler, and it's almost time to wake up Billy Joe Armstrong from his slumber. It's fall! Welcome to the Malting Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Tony Golick, joined always with
Brandon Winninger.
And a man who is no stranger to danger because he believes he's a Power Ranger.
Clark Fettridge.
Yeah, how about that, guys? Welcome. I mean, one time he did try to convince me that he was both the White and Green Ranger, and I said, "Your name's not Tommy," and he's like, "Yes, it is." He really convinced me.
And here we are.
Weird backstory. As a kid growing up, my brother used to try to convince me that He-Man lived across the street, and he would go over there and visit He-Man and whatever the other characters' names were. I don't remember, but he was like, "All right, go over there," and then I would like beg him to take me, and he's like, "No."
Oh. And
then I found out later the guy that lived over there was actually the janitor of our grammar school, who looked like Chuck Norris. So I was like,
so your brother was
maybe
hanging out with
He-Man.
Your brother was hanging out with the janitor from your school who looked like Chuck Norris. Is that the moral of the story?
Well, then it turns out my brother never actually went over there.
No,
know that. But my friend's dad used to go over there all the time and drink. And we, like when we were kids, we'd hang out there with them while they were drinking. We're just sitting on the corner. They're drinking, smoking cigarettes, and we're like, cool kids, hanging out with the adults, drinking beers. We didn't have beer.
This is a fantastic. You know what? I wonder if anybody has already stopped this epised.
God, I hope so.
Wait, no. Keep listening.
Keep listening.
Clark's got something fantastic to say.
Yes, this is the part where Clark takes off his clothes. It's the nude episode of the Malting Hour, starring
my favorite
Clark
part
only. Mm-hmm. No chode. We're gonna drink some fall inspired beers. We're not doing necessarily, like pumpkin beers yet. We're not gonna do that yet. If we do it at all. Okay, spoiler alert. It is coming. But we decided that, what better way to welcome in this season. It happens to be my favorite season, right before, we turn the clock back for no good reason anymore. And the days get shorter. It's fall, man. I love fall. How are you guys doing today?
I'm cool with fall. I'm down with fall, as the hip kids say these days.
As a Power Ranger would say. Brandon, how do you like fall? Do you enjoy fall?
I enjoy the cooler weather.
Yes.
Like today was perfect. Like, mid 70s. Like that's the weather that I like.
Well, the crispiness in the evening.
Yes. Totally. I mean, that's perfect. That's those perfect. Cool kids sitting around the fire, drinking a beer, smoking a cigar, whatever type of thing you want to do.
Take your pants off. Yeah.
But definitely like fire pit weather.
It is. And I did not, I set up the fire pit for my wife last night, and I did not do it. I did not go out there and enjoy it. She was hanging out with some friends. I set it up and I was very jealous. I was like, man, I wish I was doing this. Instead, I watched a shitty horror movie because that's what I do in my free time. Let's get into these beers, because it's enough about these crazy backstories we have for this episode. We all went and ventured out and bought random beers, as has become a norm for us. Brandon, I know you went to the same bottles and cans that I did. Clark, did you go to a bottles and cans today, or did you have beers ready to go?
I had beers ready to go. It was a perfect plan. Now, I kind of fudged it on one of them. One of them was perfect. One of them technically applies. We'll find out later.
I almost did that because I had two things here. I was like, I could just drink these. And I was like, no, I'm going to go and get something. Plus, I figured, I'm not going to drink all four of these beers tonight. I picked out two other ones that I plan on enjoying another time. Maybe with you guys. I don't know. We'll find out.
I did end up getting one of those barrel-aged Imperial pajamas that I sent you.
I figured you did when you sent me that picture. That's Beguile's barrel-aged Imperial pajamas.
I didn't, because I didn't have last year's, so I saw it. And I was like,
it's been a while.
Yep.
for me.
Yeah.
No, I think the last time I had it was when Clark and I actually went to Beguile, and we got freakishly won tickets for Prop Day, doing our own.
No, you had it after that, because I had like several bottles of it for a long time, and we may have drank one on an episode.
Gonna have to
Maybe
have Clark.
Might be an after the final pour. I don't know. But yeah.
At any rate, let's get into beers. What do you guys get? What were we drinking first? Brandon, what did you get?
I don't know. I gotta go find out. So somebody else talk.
Oh, Jesus. This is why you bring the beer out before we start recording. You know what I mean? What's that? Ooh!
Try to keep it cold. Well, what is that?
Jesus.
Waddle.
It's Waddle from it's Off Colors Oktoberfest, which I did not get yet this year. How is it? Or have you had it already?
I have poured it into my delicious Revolution Oktoberfest cup, as is tradition.
Is that so, Bob Barker?
Yes, you pour a different brewery's beer into a different brewery's cup.
That's pretty much what I do with all my glassware.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's rarely a time I actually pour a brewery's beer into their.
Is there beer in that what you just poured, or is that all just foam?
No, there is a bit of foam. I poured it a little too fast.
But it's a secret. Nobody told them about it.
Yeah, I won't tell you. You know, I've seen Waddle on the shelves. I wouldn't be surprised if I grabbed it. I kind of burnt myself out on random Oktoberfest beers already.
Yeah, I haven't gone crazy on Oktoberfest. And the funny thing is, I did buy this from Bottles and Cans. So technically, I followed the rules.
And it is a fall type beer, as you know, as we record this, and once it's released, we're in full swing of Oktoberfest.
We are.
Yeah,
and it is delish, I have to say.
Yeah, Waddle is probably one of the better local. Small rant. This is not going to be a huge rant, but
pretty early for a rant.
Yeah, sorry. Brandon, you went the same route. What's going on? I almost said no Oktoberfest beers, just to give a bit more of a challenge. There are so many. Like, I get it. You know, just like any other style of beer, you know, Oktoberfest beers, how many different ways can we make an Oktoberfest beer?
Well, it's kind of funny. You said go, the original text said, like, let's try like fall Oktoberfest pumpkin something.
Yeah.
I got a couple Oktoberfests. I got a couple pumpkin beers. So,
well, no, I didn't say pumpkin. I
almost thought
didn't
pumpkin.
say any pumpkin. I did not say pumpkin.
It's funny because I did check your text. I'm like, ooh, pumpkin. I could go for a pumpkin. Tony didn't say pumpkin, so I'm not going to do it yet because that's coming down the line.
Yes, I originally said Oktoberfest when we were going to have a guest, and so I said, well, let's just do fall beers, and then I named numerous styles, none being Oktoberfest.
I think
go
you
back
did.
to the
you're going to be proved wrong, Tony.
Did I
brown ales, porter ales, amber ales, and Oktoberfest.
Thank you.
Boy, do I look like an asshole to myself right now. Son of a bitch. Well, I was hoping you guys were going to be a little bit more creative, but it's okay. That's the time of year, man. It's time for Oktoberfest. So
no, but I specifically chose two that I hadn't had. I lied. I had one Sunday, but I liked it a lot, and I wanted to talk about it. So this one I haven't had. So
I've never had Waddle, so this is new
your
to
first
me.
time ever having Waddle?
Yeah, well, I mean, back last year I said I need to have more off color, which I definitely have this year. And
I've never had Waddle.
One of the many that I haven't, and it's delicious. I mean, it tastes like what you expect, but
it's good.
Can't complain. And it tastes like Off Color did it, so it's got its own little twist. With what do they call it?
So that answers my question answers my rant of how many different styles of Oktoberfest do we need? I guess or not styles, but different Oktoberfest beers do we need from breweries?
Well, on the can, I mean, it does say here, and I'm guessing other breweries don't do this. It says secret techniques that they use: step infusion and polka lagering.
It's probably the polka lagering.
Yeah, they play the polka music.
Mm-hmm.
While it's lagered. Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's a long. Do you think they just play it on a loop, or?
I would hope so. I mean, that's a long
if
time.
a distillery can blast Metallica and make a whiskey, I'm sure Off Color can play some polka and make
Oktoberfest.
Well, it's also got Hersbrucker hops. I'm not sure if I've ever heard of those.
I've heard of
it. Not,
and I think it was in another Off Color beer. I swear, like I've heard of it, and Off Color just kind of seems to be like where I may have heard of it.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at it. It says spicy, herbal, and floral, and that's what I'm tasting. So
Very nice.
Very nice.
good for you guys.
Well, yes, the Waddle is a fantastic version of an Oktoberfest beer, and
I've never had it.
Yeah, it's awesome. I would definitely recommend getting some, Brandon, before they're, and it's not hard to get, but it's going to be hard to get at some point because Oktoberfest is almost done, baby. Clark, overall, since this is your first time having it, what do you think of it, man?
I think it's very good. It's got I think it's the malt build that's reminding me of another off-color beer, and I wish I could come up with the name of that one, but I had it way early this year. But as I said earlier, it's definitely an off-color Oktoberfest lager,
Nice.
Which is funny. And I think I said the same thing about Brandon's, which I won't give away, at the place we were a week ago.
Now
how
everybody
it
knows.
tasted like an Oktoberfest that this brewery does.
Absolutely.
So everyone has their own little tiny twinge on a.
I think it's the
specific-
yeast. I think it comes down to the yeast that they use. House yeast blends definitely give off certain flavors for beers. If you had to rate this out of 5, what would you give it?
So are you asking me or? is
Yeah,
somebody else asking?
no, I'm asking. I'm just
Okay.
just you. Just
Not a
me
random
asking.
person on the street.
Yeah. Okay.
Yet.
I would give it a 4.
A 4 out of 5. Nice.
Pretty solid. I mean, for a pretty standard kind of beer,
Yeah.
it's got a little something extra, I'd say. So I'd boost it up to a 4.
I am
Nothing-
excited. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, nothing special, nothing amazing, but very solid, very good.
Yeah, nothing there. And that's the thing about Oktoberfest beers. When they do start coming around, I do get pretty excited. There are a couple that I do for sure seek out. I love getting Sam Adams Oktoberfest. I love getting Revolution's Oktoberfest. Those are, pretty much the first 2 that I seek out. And then anything else, I just kind of fill in along the way. Like, oh, there's this. I'll try that. I did try Brandon's this year as well. In fact, I think that was the first one I actually bought this year. Brandon, why don't you tell everybody what you got?
I am drinking Lagertown by Half Acre. Reason I bought it is because I had it last weekend. Yeah, when we had a little pre-birthday celebration. And well, it was a birthday celebration, I guess.
Pre-surprise, post actual birthday.
Yes. And I really enjoyed it. And I looked back when we were there. I had checked it in 2014, and I think I gave it like a 2.5.
Yeah,
And I
I'm
was
looking at it
like-
right now, 2.5.
I'm like, why did I give it that? Yeah, I mean, it was just stupid.
You were probably thinking, another Oktoberfest. Why do we need this?
Well, it probably could have been on a rant of like just drinking a bunch of Oktoberfests. Who knows? But either way, I think it's phenomenal. It's crisp. It's clean. It's got that body that I want in an Oktoberfest. And funnily enough, so this color, I mean, I'm showing it to these guys on the camera.
What does it look like? Describe it to the audience as if this was a podcast.
It's like a golden amber ale.
Golden and amber. Nice.
No, but you know what? Actually, it's like a dark golden orange. Like, I don't know how to
See the
describe
orange.
the color. Terrible at that. Anyways, when it's funny, I brewed my Oktoberfest on Friday, and I think this is kind of the color we got. And one of our friends was there, or one of my friends, Tony knows him too. Sebastian was there helping me brew. Well, kind of sitting there watching and drinking. But anyways, it came out and he goes, "Isn't that a little dark?" And I'm like, "Have you had an Oktoberfest beer before?" I'm like, "They're not light in color." And then I was like, "Crap, is this too dark?" And then no, this is pretty much the color.
That's what it looked like last year when you did it.
Yep. Yeah, totally. Pretty much the same color build. And side note, I'm super excited. Fermentation is almost done.
Yep.
So
you're doing the quick. Are you fermenting it with an actual lager strain at like room temperature, or are you just doing an ale
yep.
strain?
I use same thing I did last year. Safe Lager 189.
Ooh.
Did that last year because everything I read was like, dude, you can do it at room temperature. You can do it at room temperature. When I went into Gnome Brew and I was talking to him about lagers and things like that, and I told him I was doing this, and he's like, "Oh, they had a lager on tap that I tried. I'm like, oh, did you cold ferment? And he's like, yeah, totally. We use, this strain. He goes, I use the Oktoberfest strain and like cold fermented. And I was like, oh, well, I'm going to do my Oktoberfest and I'm using Safe Lager 189 and I'm doing it at room temperature. And everything I read was like, even though it's recommended for that lower temperature, it works fine at like 65 to like 72. Dude, I put it in there less than 12 hours after I pitched. It was bubbling like crazy.
You sent us that video. I'm like, wait a second. I feel like you just literally.
It was literally less than 12. And it did that. It did that all day Saturday, all day Sunday, most of yesterday, and it just today just today started to slow down. This morning it started to slow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, and you were telling me about that at Half Acre, that you don't have to lower the temperature and wait a couple weeks. And I'm going, oh my God, that's fantastic. And you don't have to use up your entire kegerator or your fridge or whatever it is that you use. And you can just make a beer the old fashioned way.
Well, yeah. So I think I've only done one lager where I actually lagered. Anything else I've ever done that was considered a lager type beer has always been at 65 degrees and just let it ferment at ale temperatures. And it's always turned out great. I've never been disappointed.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I've done my Pilsner probably 2 or 3 times, and I've done it this was back when I had a chest freezer that I could just put whatever I wanted in it because I didn't use it for anything else.
Chest freezer.
Yeah. Unfortunately I had to give that away, but no, now I got the kegerator, and if I'm using that to lager, I don't have any room for anything else in there.
Ooh,
and I need my kegs of beer.
I mean, there's so,
drink.
And then plus there's just so much other beer in that little fridge.
Wait, so how much? Oh yeah. So how many kegs can you fit in there?
2.
So
technically, with all the beer in there, 1.
Yeah, but I've got 2. I've got a home and a
I've seen it
from Revolution in there right now.
But my thought was getting and Tony, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like the tops for your kegs, you can get one that you can ferment out of. Like,
yeah, but it's the temperature. Because like I'd have to look up my recipe, but I feel like I start. What do you usually start a lager at fermenting? Like 35 or something?
Yeah, pretty low. It's pretty low, and then gradually
I gradually raise it up, and at some point it gets to like 65. So I don't want to keep a keg in there at 65.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the problem. It's when you start to get a little bit warmer.
You got to do the whole diacetyl rest. So that
exactly,
because all that diacetyl that's the whole idea, is that as you gradually raise it, because when it's cold fermenting, all that diacetyl is still sitting there, and as it gradually warms up the heat and everything, the yeast will then finish getting rid of that buttery.
Yeah, this is speaking of this specific Pilsner. This is my Roger Predactor Pilsner, and a friend of mine reached out a week ago. He out of the blue Googled Roger Pedactor, the character from Ace Ventura. Everybody knows.
If you don't know that,
Roger Pedactor. He was murdered. Blah blah blah. Go see the movie. Not to spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
But apparently, the 4th image on Google when you Google Roger Pedactor is my beer label somehow.
Outstanding.
What?
So it's all that
Go Google it, everybody.
Marketing.
Yeah.
That's Roger Pedactor. Podacter. And images.
I have to assume it comes from
there. I am Roger Pedactor, Clarkowski Brew House.
Got to come from the Untapped image, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it is. Holy crap, that's hilarious.
He's like, why are you sitting there as the 4th image for Roger Pedactor? Well, I think people apparently like the beer.
I think the bigger question is, why was your friend Googling Roger Pedactor?
I could go into that story if you really want.
Sure.
So very long story. It's not a very long story. It was over like chat at work. They were talking about, he and a colleague were talking about something, and this younger woman writes back Roger, as in got it, okay. Yeah. And he writes back Pedactor. And she's like, that's lost on me. I don't know what you're talking about. So he goes to Google an image of Roger Pedactor to send to her, and up comes Roger Pedactor Pilsner. Now, talking about this makes me want to brew it. So way to go, guys.
Good. That's the whole idea of the show. Drink beer, brew beer. Yeah.
Okay. I gotta go. Maybe I'll try it with the new yeast, so I don't have to do all the special stuff.
Hey man, try and do it.
I would be curious. Try it with the Safe Lager 189. See if that works out.
That'd
be
be
cool.
I did a Pilsner like that. Shut up, Jeff. Shut up, Jeff is what I did as the warm fermenting.
I'm gonna Google
lager.
Shut Up Jeff.
Pretty sure that won't pop up. Maybe on Untapped if you like. I don't know, but probably.
Can you put it on Untapped?
Yes, it is on Untapped.
Yes.
Pretty sure all my beers are on Untapped. Anyways, Brandon, someone walked up to you on the street and they were like, "Hey man, what would you rate this beer out of 5? What would you give it?"
4. Solid 4.
2 4s in a row. Outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, it's Half Acre, man. I don't think there's a beer from them that I really like, dislike, or hate.
Sure.
But I mean, the flavor, the profile, the cleanliness, like just how smooth it is. This is good, easy drinking. Like, I had a hard time pulling this off a 4-pack at Bottles and Cans and not buying the whole 4-pack. You know,
that would have been one. I would have just. Well, you can get that anywhere right now. You could. That's pretty cool about Lagertown is that that was one of the first beers I saw out on the shelf, and I'm still seeing it out on the shelf. So it's not like pumpkin beers where it's like, this is it. Come and get it. I know it's August 29th, but come get your pumpkin beers.
I know we've said this before, but can we do a quick rant about Bottles and Cans and how awesome that is? Like, you can just anything that's 16 ounces or less.
Anything, yeah.
You can build your own 6-pack
or 4-pack.
Minimum of 4. Yeah, you can build your own minimum 4-pack. I built a 5-pack. Like, dude, that's just awesome. Just grab anything off the shelf. What I didn't do is like they had things that were in boxes, like Rev stuff in boxes. I was like, I'm not.
Yeah, I feel a little.
I'm like, I'm not gonna open the box.
I know because I have seen many sitting on the shelf before, where I was like, oh shit, someone did do it. All right, cool. So now I don't feel so weird if I do want to grab just like a super massive Cafe Death for $10.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, they got Rye Way to Hell. I'm like, yeah,
Rye Way to Hell. Is that different from Rye Way to Heaven?
Is that like a variant?
Rye Way to Hell.
Is there like a ghost pepper in it?
Yes. Yeah, so I didn't touch boxes, and I stayed away from like imports. Like, but I did see imports on the shelf, like in the sink.
People grabbing stuff.
So they do have like a collection of single bottles there. Like, but yeah, very cool spot, man. I was super impressed, and I think that was my first. It's not my first time my first time in that Bottles and Cans, and I think my second time overall in a Bottles and Cans. So.
I am now a rewards member, so I continue to.
So am I. I signed up.
Absolutely.
I got 6 points today.
It doesn't cross over to each store. There are 2 locations now.
You have to
to sign up for your own.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I've got them for 2 separate spots now. Yeah, that's all right.
I went to the new one. I'm like, I'm signed up at the other one. They're like, oh, it doesn't work. I'm like, okay, fine. I mean, it's free, so who cares? But
yeah.
whatever.
Well, and the other thing is that I'm closer to this one, so I probably won't be going to the other one anyway. So
good. So you won't be taking mine.
That's
correct.
That's an annoyance.
Eventually, I believe they told me that they are going to try and do it where they can do it.
Merge them.
Yeah. It's funny that you guys both chose Chicago beers because I too chose a Chicago beer for my first beer.
What do you got, Tony?
Well, I got Maplewood's Kellum All Keller beer. Oh, here we go. A little bit of a Metallica vibe to this.
I don't know if I've ever heard of that, to be honest.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I was not really
paying attention.
Familiar with the beer, but it is a Keller beer, and I'll give you a little rundown on it here. Brewed with 100% German floor malted Pilsner and hopped lightly with French-grown Barb Rogue hops. Rich malty sweetness with grainy depth finished with light notes of ripe red fruit flavors and noble hop spice. Comes in at 4.5%. And I will say this, when, fest beers are a lighter, type of a beer that you have around Oktoberfest. And when I saw this, I'm like, that sounds good. It's lighter than an Oktoberfest, but it almost has a sweetness and more of a mouthfeel and body to it than a fest beer. So I feel like it kind of meets in the middle. And just like, when spring rolls around, you get the warmer weather, you sometimes you go for pale ales or pilsners. And I feel like lagers right now in fall are also really good because they're kind of refreshing and crisp. It's right before we start getting into, heavy dark beers like porters and stouts and barley wines and oat wines and wheat wines, barrel aged this, barrel aged that. That's not a rant. I'm really looking forward to it.
Jeez, man.
Sorry. But yeah, it's really good. It's like a golden straw color. It smells like a fucking lagered beer, which I enjoy. It's got a like spicy, noble hop aroma to it. It's very refreshing. I am sad. I am sad that I did not just get this as a 4-pack because I think I would drink this a lot. It's very good. It's very refreshing. But like I said, there is a bit more body to it, which I like.
Maplewood is saying this beer should be slammed. Your response?
Shit.
Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, he half slammed it.
He did. Yeah, past it. If he would have done it, that'd have been the fucking funniest thing ever.
I almost did.
That'd have been the only video.
I wanna enjoy it.
Well, then you're like, that's my only one. Like,
I know I'm trying to enjoy it. Like that's like That's like what were those videos when they used to pop open a bottle of rare and chug them?
Yep, keep on chugging.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, that's the next episode.
Sweet. We're gonna chug some bottles of rare. Do you guys actually have any bottles of rare left? I know Brandon, you do. Clark, do you have any bottles of rare left?
I don't know any bottles of rare. Oh yeah,
the one I had was gone.
Yes.
Is gone.
That rare. Yes,
I
still
that
have.
rare. Goose Island's rare. Excellent. I would say these are good first choices here. 3 solid beers, and we all chose Chicago beers, man.
We win,
guys. I didn't do it on purpose either. I was walking around and I thought,
remember you texted us. You said, make sure, and this is in all caps, make sure you choose Chicago beers or else.
I didn't send that one. Just like I didn't say pumpkin. You might want to double check. That might have been Brandon to you.
Oh yeah, that was an off text with the
separate off chain.
No, there was no pumpkin. But there was Oktoberfest. There was.
I stand corrected. My apologies. Just thought you guys be more creative and have more imagination, especially with a place like Bottles and Cans where you can have a ton of different type of beers to choose from. So yeah, I think these are good first picks, guys. Not that I'm trying to move along here, but I am going to move along here. What other types of styles do you guys like drinking during the cooler months as we get into them?
Well, you did say stout.
Oh boy,
and I've already been drinking a little bit. Because I finished my waddle just as we began talking about it, and I already moved on to a stout from Chicago.
Oh boy,
Illinois. Well, I will say for a second, I did think of the what's it called, Carmela, the Bourbon County one.
That's a good fall.
Yeah, the cinnamon. What is it exactly?
It's caramel apple. It's like
caramel apple,
cinnamon,
wheat wine.
Yeah, wheat wine. Yeah, it's awesome.
That honestly might be my favorite from last year.
Absolutely.
I had one of them a number of months ago, and I that's all I had. I didn't have any other bottles. I have bottles of every other one sitting around.
Interesting.
And I saw one, I think at Capone's, and I bought it because I was very excited to see it.
Nice.
So I still have that, and I thought about it for a second. I thought, nope, I'll hold off for an even fallier day, as they say.
It's funny that you said that because I was gonna be like, ooh, I have a beer that Clark doesn't. I'll save it for him. Yeah, I've got a bottle of Carmela.
You can still save it for me. Because
I got to drink it with Ron as well. So Ron's never had it, and he says that sounds really good. Last Friday we were going to drink it, and or not last Friday, Friday before. Nobody wanted to drink it, but me and Ron. And I was like, we're too late into this.
After your 24 other beers.
I finally checked them all in. I don't know if you guys saw that.
We saw.
I mean, but it was like split between 4 guys, and they were like,
from last weekend, I had this beer. From last weekend, I also had this beer. From last weekend,
I just put last weekend. Beer. I didn't put it from last week. I just put last weekend, right? Didn't I?
It was from last weekend.
It was 2 weeks now. But so what's the big reveal, Clark?
I have been sipping on
Go
2020
kids.
I might have been yelling
too
because
is that allowed?
Yeah, well, I guess so. Because we're doing a Zoom, I might have yelled over what you actually had. Sorry, Bob.
I said D-Star 2020. Death Star.
Yes, Revolution.
Regular old, nothing special, no maple. I almost grabbed the maple because that is fall-like, but I didn't. I saved that one. But the regular, and it's tasting fantastic, by the way. Chocolate's coming through even more. Barrel might be disappearing a little bit, but it's really good, and I'm very excited because there'll be a new version coming out in about 2 weeks. So
can't wait to shotgun one of those stovepipe cans. Do a.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that'll be an episode where we shotgun a 19.2 ounce can of barrel aged stout, 14.5%, somewhere around there. I don't know how much is it. How much it is not 14.5, but that's a good choice. I did think about doing something barrel aged, but I thought it was just too soon for me in the season to bring.
You mean it was a random Tuesday and you didn't want to?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I haven't been drinking during the week, and last night was a special treat with my seltzers. And then tonight when we were like, I was like, yeah, I guess I'm available tomorrow. And I woke up this morning and I was like, 2 nights in a row. I don't know if I can do this.
Well, as I mentioned to you, I still have a stockpile of barrel aged beers that we all need to work on getting through. And I thought, might as well get started.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thanks for the invite for tonight. I would have came by and drank that with you.
Oh.
Could have brought a Carmela.
I mean, Brandon did, and he was here, and now he's back home.
Oh, that's why he's so tired.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm exhausted.
My life.
Just been driving around back and forth, drinking barrel-aged beers. Clark, if someone walked you up on the street and said, hey, what would you rate that 2020 Death Star you're drinking right now?
Ooh, gosh. My mind went to 4.5 right away. Could lean 4.75. Going to stick with 4.5.
Ooh, 4.5.
I think it's better than it was 6-7 months ago, to be honest.
All right. I'll allow it.
Thank you.
I am looking forward to. Holy shit! What's wrong with my pouring right now? I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks to having some. I don't have any regular, but I do see it sitting around still on some shelves. I might get it to do a little comparison.
I am questioning raspberry though. That's the variant. Oh, there goes your head again. But the fruit this year is raspberry.
Yes.
And I can see it going both ways. I have a lot of faith in Revolution
like you.
to do it properly. Exactly. Got it.
Awkward. Brandon, what are you? Brandon, what's your second beer of the night?
I actually ended up going with another Chicago beer, Goose Island's Oktoberfest.
Oh.
This is an Oktoberfest episode for Brandon. Outstanding. I have not had their Oktoberfest this year at all.
I had it the first time on Sunday on tap at a bar, and I was like, this is phenomenal. I rated it 4.5 on Untappd.
Ooh.
And
going big, baby.
Color-wise, like pretty much the same as the
almost identical. Which
the Lagertown. And flavor-wise,
delicious. Delicious City, USA.
It's good. But you know what? Like it's a little spicier, I think. Like same flavor profile, but I think more of that stuff that I like comes through on the Goose Island one. So, you know. Very impressed with this one. Yeah, good. I mean, good job, Goose Island. Like, I mean, we've kissed their ass enough on this podcast, but like, yeah.
It's been a little while. I mean, you know,
but it's mostly over their barrel aged stuff, to be honest.
True,
and
that is true.
This is a solid fucking beer. I really enjoy this.
Goose Island. This is my call out to you guys. Look, maybe we're not as big as those other influencers you see on the internet or those media personalities, but goddamn, we've done 2 full shows based on Bourbon County, if not 3, and featured many of your beers. All I'm asking is that maybe this year, consider us for when you send out those Bourbon County packs, because some of the things that I've seen online, especially some from last year, well, they were just short. They didn't really get in depth with them. And you know, with what we do and how much we love your beers, we would devote a whole episode, if not a little bit more.
We could spend hours
to this year's lineup. So here's my plea. Anybody wants to send this over to Goose Island, this part of the episode, not the beginning, nothing mentioned about chodes, no mention of Clark going both ways, no mention of my rants of Oktoberfest beers, just this part. Consider us for tasting Bourbon County and letting everybody know what it tastes like.
Working on it.
Outstanding. Well, that's good, Brandon. I have seen it, and the price point of Goose Island's beers are always pretty solid, especially the 12 packs or 6 packs. For for those limited releases that they do. I gotta say the 12 pack's probably what, $12, something like that, $13 for that.
Roughly.
If that, I mean,
Yeah.
for an Oktoberfest,
$10.99 maybe.
and I don't think I've ever had this before. So
5.7%.
Yeah, it's actually it's pretty good. That's awesome.
Yeah, and what's crazy is like my Oktoberfest and brewing is supposed to clock in at 7%. So,
I think it was that high last year, wasn't it?
yeah, it was. It was high.
yeah,
And, well, and because I realized I had screwed up the recipe originally, so here's
the old
story.
Tony.
So Gnome Brew shop has a fabulous recipe builder where you can put in your ingredients, do all that kind of stuff. And when I was doing it, I was just like looking at Beersmith and I'm like, I was like, wait, this isn't like the correct measurements. I figured that out afterwards, after I brewed a couple other beers after that. But I was like, you know what? Because I went to order it again and I was starting to put in the numbers and I was like, wait, this doesn't make sense. So I looked back at what I did last year, just ordered everything I did last year, and then redid my recipe. And I was like, oh, I'm going to fix this. It'll fix it. And I was like, it changed it from 7.1 to 7.0 ABV. And I was like, okay.
Good enough.
Ordered it. And I'm just doing what I did last year. And hopefully it comes through. Because my mother-in-law loved that. And she does not like beer normally. So,
look at that. How to win over the mother-in-law. Make an Oktoberfest. That's what I always say.
That's right.
If someone's walking down the street and they were like, Brandon, what do you think of that Goose Island's Oktoberfest? How many out of 5? How many would you give?
4.5.
4.5 as well. Oh, interesting. Nice.
That guy sounded kind of different than the other people that have been.
Just random people walking down the street.
Oh, so it's just random.
It's random.
So yeah, who knows?
No, it's the same. Yeah, I mean the first two kind of sound the same, but then the second guy, he's someone else walking down the street. I also, stayed in our comfort zone and chose a Chicago brewery. I chose Midwest Coast Brewing in Chicago. I've never had anything from them.
Ooh, what?
Midwest Coast. Keep up. And I chose it because this was the style that I was looking for, which was an American brown ale.
Oh,
that to me screams in my face fall, because that's actually when I enjoy I think I scared Clark. That's when I enjoy brown ales the most, because it's right before you get to porters and then stouts. Brown ales to me give you that little bit of hint of roastiness and chocolate before really focusing on those flavors. And there's a little bit more of a hop presence in these. Now, while Brandon was talking, I had poured this beer and I had to pour it into 2 separate glasses. It was foaming up uncontrollably. Now, granted, it wasn't ice cold, but it has been in my fridge for 2.5 hours and then sat out for like 15 minutes. And I took a sip from the can too, and it was like crazy. Like carbonation, like I couldn't taste anything. After letting it sit in this Goose Island glass, the carbonation has settled down. I was worried maybe it was infected, maybe it wasn't overcarbonated, but this is really, really good. This is a really good brown ale. It's nice, and I don't know if you guys can kind of see through it. Maybe it looks maybe a little murky. You can see the lights behind. Yeah, there you go. It's really good. It's clear. Kind of looks like tea almost, but darker.
So what do we know about that brewery?
Well, it's funny you should ask, because I have it before Clark does. Actually, I just have it about the beer. Westtown Brown is the name of it, and it's 5.3%. And they say, "Don't be scared off by dark beers!" ! Toasted chocolate and caramel notes lead the charge in this beer, tracing its roots back to the 18th century England. But this American style brings a little more hop character to the show. Property rights, powdered wigs, brown ales, just like everything we took from the British. We made it better
on this side of the pond.
33 IBU, Columbus, Willamette, available in 12-ounce 6-packs. And if you don't know anything,
now you know.
If you don't know, now you know. Westtown is located on Walnut Street in Chicago, 60612. They're down by Metric Coffee. So, Clark,
I think they got a big, nice outdoor area too.
According to the pictures that you and I are looking at, they do.
It's closing soon at 9 p.m.
Better get
Let's
there,
go.
everybody. Got 8 minutes.
Oh yeah, Western and Fulton, basically.
It's close to.
Huh.
I'm trying to think of another brewery that is not too far.
No,
from
don't
there.
know any others on Fulton.
Goose Island is not too far from here.
I don't think
So I
so.
will say for a brown ale. Now that the other glass now that it's settled, you can definitely see it a bit better. How clear
totally.
and brown that is. It's really good. It's really nice. This is the kind of beer that I want to brew. A brown ale as a beer that I'm actually going to brew for Halloween this year. I'm not brewing a pumpkin beer. I'm going to brew a brown ale to get me into the fall Halloween mood. I might shoot for 6.5%, to kind of make it a little boozier. Have one, feel pretty good to go. But brown ales are one of my favorite styles. I think it's an underrated style. It's an overlooked style, mainly because not many people brew it, and I think a lot of people's first experience with brown ales is probably Newcastle, which I haven't had since Lagunitas took over brewing for. Mm-hmm. But it's good. It is kind of roasty. There's a chocolatey flavor from it, not too strong.
So question.
Sweetness to the beer, and the hops kind of make it almost like a bittersweet chocolate type beer without it being super sweet.
So not to cut you off.
Well, you did.
Kept
But,
going.
yeah, no, it's
But
okay.
anyways, so
We just broke up on there.
you're gonna brew the brown ale.
Correct.
Is that your first beer you're doing since scrubbing your equipment?
Absolutely. And I haven't even fully scrubbed the equipment yet. I did a couple things, and that was it. But yes, since the whole shit show of my last 3 beers, and
Have we talked about that on an episode? Maybe I don't remember.
Yeah, a few ago we did.
Yeah.
for those of you who didn't know, the last 3 beers I did fucking sucked, and they just did not turn out well. The only thing I can think of, which I hadn't had an issue with in the past, is that I used Kvike yeast for all 3 of them, and the Kviking sucked. So I was not happy with it, especially with one of the beers, or 2 of the pale ales tasted oxidized, which is not something I've dealt with in a really long time. So I'm not sure what it is that I did wrong. It could be an equipment thing. So I'm in the process of cleaning things individually. And this one, this brown ale that I'm going to do is going to be on my old setup with propane. I'm giving the electric a break.
Something happened with are you including the hard seltzer that you tried?
Oh no, that also did not turn out. So that's 4 things I brewed that just were not good at all. So yeah, the last 4 brewed, 4 strikes. And if anybody wants to try these beers, they're currently sitting in my kegerator because I'm too sad to dump them. Same thing with the seltzer. I just don't have it in me to dump these beers.
Too sad to dump them. The next name of your homebrew.
Oh, that's my brown ale. Too sad to dump. Too sad to dump, which you can take any way that you want. It's more like Mr. Rumpkin gets a blumpkin. Just use your imagination. So
brown ale.
Yeah, brown ale.
You got me thinking about brown ale.
I love brown ales, man. They're really good. And the hops they use in this, I know I said what it was, and then I jumped off the page. I believe Columbus and I say Willamette. Willamette, I mean, not Wilmette. I'm trying to bring it back up, and my computer is asking me if I'm a robot, which is weird. It's not super floral. It's not super spicy, not super citrusy. It's got a nice, just slight hop bitterness to it that I'm really enjoying. So I've never had any other beers from them, and to be honest, I didn't know anything about them. But when I saw, my plan was to get some type of brown ale. I was also looking for some, if there was a barrel aged old ale. I think old ales are really good to have around this time of year. Is everything is cooler in the evening. It's not ice cold outside yet, but it's cooler. So those are the type of beers that I like to have.
Well, with Plop Day, not
really hard for me to not crack open the stock
boy.
that was sitting right here. I was like, should I?
We can do after the final pours where Brandon just drinks it and tells us about it, and we
listen to him. Yeah. Well, I'll just and I can drink something else. I'll just drink something else from what I got. I did get something pretty fun. Brandon, I'll just tell you guys what the other beers that I got that I didn't crack
tell
open.
Us what you got.
No problem, man.
You were so proud of them. You had to let us know.
I was so excited, man. And you were very rude about your response.
I got the text where it said, "Hey guys,
Sweet. Why
beers.
don't you read the actual text?
Yeah. Let me read the text. I'll do it in my Tony voice.
Thank you.
I must say, I'm pretty happy with the beers I grabbed, and I'm not sure which ones I'm going to open tonight. To which I said, well, good for you.
And then I said,
rude.
Yeah. It was rude.
Totally rude, man.
That is exactly.
Clark, you're the dick in this one.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for.
Clark the Dick. That's his name. Being a dick is his only game. I did get regular non-barrel aged Imperial pajamas from Beguile.
We should save that for a side by side.
If it, or I'll just drink this and get another.
Ooh, that's what they call it, side by side.
Yeah, that's Clark. You're familiar with that, the old side by
Yep.
side.
Oh yeah.
And the other beer that I got, which I feel like Clark, I think you've tried this. Spoiler alert: it's a Goose Island beer. Because Goose, just so you know, we love you. I got their, because they have them in 4-packs. I got their Old Forester barrel aged, old-fashioned inspired old ale with lemon peel and orange peel.
Never had it.
Oh,
Maybe we talked about it. Maybe we messaged each other about it then.
We did,
Oh.
and that's been out for a while now, right?
what was it? So sorry to cut you off, Clark, but it's better this way.
They
What
call
was
him
the other?
the king of cut-offs. His name is Brendan.
What was the other beer that we had? Like, so what is it? What is it?
It was
inspired
the
off?
Bell's
The Bell's.
old fashioned.
Yeah, Bell's old
Oh,
fashioned.
yes.
After final pour around Christmas time.
So I will say
Dude.
that it is a 4-pack at Bottles and Cans, and it was $16, and it like stood out because I walked by and I noticed like just kind of glancing at stuff because I wanted to be in and out of there. I didn't want to get stuck in traffic too long.
People to see you.
Yeah, I don't want people. I mean, everybody knows.
It's Tony from the malting hour.
I mean, we had to deal with that at Half Acre. I mean, there's so many people.
Yes,
He's got
that's
that
right.
lager hat on. He always wears that first.
Yeah, we had to like that mustache I wore. I think
Yeah.
mostly worked, except
And
for
I-
that one person at the end who was like, "Wait a second, are you Zach Brack?"
And then we had to
Correct.
run. We had to take
Yeah.
off. We had to run. It was
We had to
really
go.
embarrassing. But I, as I'm looking at everything, I saw Old Forester. That was the only thing that stood out on the label. I was like, Old Forester, what do we got here? I was like, oh, it's a Goose Island thing. Old Forester. I'm like, what the fuck's this? And I read Old Fashioned Inspired, and I grabbed it, and I read it like, oh, it's an old ale with lemon peel and orange peel. Sounds good. So I was gonna crack that. I still might. It's 9 o'clock. Who knows?
I mean, I drank a D-Star.
I'm going on this right now.
It's delicious.
I know, but I so red alert. If
Red
anybody
alert!
sees coming out in the next couple months, if anybody sees the Bell's,
Old fashioned.
oh yeah,
If they release it again this year, that would be great.
I
That
hope
was
so,
good. That was
God.
fun. They really did a nice job on that. It
That
tasted
was
like an
a
old-fashioned.
fucking delicious beer.
Yeah.
And dude, I looked for it like after I got it, like we went out, I was just like searching or whatever. We had it, and I was like, "Where is it?" Didn't find it, but
I'll be on the lookout.
we find if it's out there again. I guess does Bell have a beer finder like for their special releases? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do.
Because if they do, like we got to keep tabs on that. Like, that should be
I
good.
feel like I remember looking up if they had done that before. I could be making this up, and a lot of what I say on this podcast is completely made up.
Maybe
I thought
we
you were about
need
to
to
say on this episode.
start
episode.
pounding them with tweets like make that again.
Like, hey,
Tony and I used to do that with
I was just
shorts.
gonna say,
It never
yeah.
worked, but you know.
and Clark, we have tweeted at Bell's before when we did the whole Planet series. We could
That's
say,
right.
hey, it's us, the guys from the Planet series. Now we want to find something else from you. Please bring back your fucking old fashioned beer. It was delicious.
Yeah, they didn't really seem to care about that. So
They
I
did, and it was
you
it was amazing. And that was before all these other people on the Instagrams were doing.
they don't
stuff
even
like
have.
that.
They do have a beer finder, but they don't have the old fashioned one sitting on there.
I think we need to
That's
reach
probably a
out.
one-off.
We need to reach out and find out. Are you guys doing the old fashioned again? Because that should be a regular holiday treat,
Yeah,
If not, give us the recipe.
yeah.
or just make it for us.
Yeah.
Could we do a collaboration?
That's
beer?
easier.
Yeah.
Collaboration, yes.
Collaboration where you do that beer and we just take some with us.
That's the collaboration.
That's
We
fine.
get it. That's the way it works, man. Well, this is a good fall beer episode. Brandon, I'm glad you focused on one style and stuck with it because you chose two good ones. So that was great.
Yeah,
I'm not.
do what I do.
That sounded sarcastic, but it was not. I'm giving you props for that, Clark. No, you're not a Power Ranger, but I do like your choices as well. Waddle is fantastic. Death Star, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Getting gearing up for the barrel age season, like
It's
you said,
so close, man. So close.
2 weeks away from the first 3 releases of the Death Star lineup from Goose Island. So that is very exciting. And the 2 other beers that I had, the Maplewood Keller beer, Kellamall, and this what is it? Midwest Coast American Brown, Westtown Brown American Brown Ale. Very good. Very, very good. And if anybody you're out there, you don't drink brown ales, the fuck is wrong with you? Get out there, buy a brown ale, give it a try. Brown ales are fantastic. You don't know what you're
Get
missing.
down with the brown.
Down with the brown. You know what was I going to call it? About the dumbing?
We'll have to listen back.
Oh, speaking of listening back, something we said we were going to do and we haven't done in a while. Brandon, do you have a timer on you right now? Can you pull your phone's timer up real quick?
I do.
I need 60 seconds because something we haven't done in a while. And we're going to put them back on the spot. Clark, it is time for your 60-second recap of the episode. Brandon, you tell him when to start.
3, 2, 1, go.
Well, I did begin with Waddle from Off Color. It was a very, very, very special Oktoberfest beer. Very solid. Tastes like Off Color did in Oktoberfest. And Brandon is doing Lagertown from Half Acre. We were just at Half Acre. He had it there, but he had it tonight too. Very good. Very solid. Tony moved on to his Maplewood. What's it called? Hell something? Can't remember. Tony, fill me in.
Kellamall.
Not a hell. It's a Kellamall. He was very solid. It's crushable. I mean, he almost totally just downed it in like 2 seconds, but he didn't. And then I moved on to my Death Star, my Death Star, depending on what you want to talk about. Very good chocolates coming through. Really looking forward to 2 weeks from now. Brandon, Oktoberfest from Goose Island, really good. Goose Island, reach out to us. Tony, Midwest Coast Brown Ale, delicious. Need to drink more brown ales and brew some brown ales.
Nice. With 2 seconds to spare.
Oh, sweet. Good job.
So you would have been on fast.
Little hiccup.
Well, had I not put myself on mute and be able to tell you Kellamall, I apologize. And then I tried to unmute it and it gave me options to do something with the microphone. So
I kept going to Hell's Lager, but that's not where
no, it's a Keller beer. It's a Keller.
I was also why is Tony not telling him?
I couldn't. And then I had baked. I was laughing.
You're like, I will not give you the answer.
Not giving you the
you
answer.
have 30 more seconds.
This is Clark's 60-second.
I could have spent time looking on my back button on my browser and gotten there at some point, but that would have been a lot of airtime lost.
Well, that was good. That was good. Good.
2 seconds to spare.
Yeah, good 58-second recap, man. Good job.
Yeah.
And I had a little rant. Brandon, we still got to find a segment for you. What's your segment?
I have no segments. I'm just here.
He doesn't need a segment.
Well, Brandon. You got something? You got something?
Sorry, no, I thought I saw the old fashioned in the Bell's release schedule, but it's not there. But they do have a special double cream stout, cherry stout, Christmas ale, and brown ale coming out around Christmas time.
Oh, it'll be just in time.
Mars is coming back.
What?
Yeah, but
Like the planet?
No. Well, no. Mars is still. You're thinking of Pluto. Pluto is not.
triple IPA.
Mars is really. I thought it's a triple or a double IPA. It was a double
One of the
IPA.
two. Yeah.
Either way, it was a really good beer, and Clark and I really enjoyed the whole Planet series, and I hope they decide to revisit that because all of those beers were good. But apparently, Mars is what stood out the most. I thought Uranus tasted great, so I don't know why we're not revisiting Uranus. But Brandon, I love you, man.
Love you too, bud.
Clark, go Power Rangers.
We're going now.
Oh,
We're going now.
should we leave?
Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
This has been The Malting Hour. Be sure to follow us on all social media by searching The Malting Hour and at themaltinghour.com. You can also follow us on social media platforms individually. Brandon can be found on Instagram as BMDub81, on Twitter, BDub81, on Untapped, BDub Drinks Beer. Tony can be found on Instagram and Untapped under Asa Phelps Chicago. On Twitter, The Asa Phelps Chicago. Clark can be found as Clarkowski on all three. Be sure to subscribe, like, and rate the show on your preferred podcast listening platform. Until next time, cheers from all of us at The Malting Hour.
Go, go, Power Rangers.